Chapter 51. None of them knew how much time had passed before the guards entered the room again, but as soon as they heard the sliding of the metal lock on the door, they put their plan into action. Kay hung her head, closing her eyes and slowing her breathing as much as possible. 6 guards entered, splitting off into smaller groups with a single guard headed toward Kay and Sierra, and 2 guards each for Braun and Ashlyn. The guards began saying things in Gaelic as they aimed a kick for the same side as before. Sierra still didn't understand Gaelic, but she could assume from their tone that it was some kind of insult. Sierra gritted her teeth, breathing through the new wave of pain that washed over her as she tried to keep an eye on what was going on elsewhere in the room. It looked like Ashlyn and Braun were interrogated in addition to the beating, though Sierra couldn't be sure because of the language barrier. Her eyes remained focused on Kay. She winced as a punch landed on her left cheek at the same time that Kay was kicked. Sierra's vision swam, though the punch didn't hurt as much as it might have had she been human. When the moisture cleared from her eyes, she watched as the guard lifted one of Kay's legs, only for it to fall lifelessly to the floor. Sierra had to hand it to her. Kay looked close to dead, her head hanging at an angle that did not look comfortable in the slightest. The guard said something, and immediately the rest of the guards stopped their attacks and headed over to see what he was speaking about. Sierra watched quietly, unable to see what was going on with the 6 Fae guards crowded around Kay, blocking her view. Sierra couldn't follow their conversation, but she figured that Braun and Ashlyn would alert her if something went wrong. It took a few minutes, but finally the men shifted, revealing a Kay slumped over, her arms detached from the manacles. 4 men each took a limb, another opening the door so they could carry Kay through. The one remaining guard said something to Braun, to which he began begging in Gaelic. Sierra held her tongue, trying to stop the twist of fear wrenching through her gut. Was their plan going horribly wrong? Braun continued his pleading in Gaelic, the guard saying things in response until he too exited the room, the metal door closing behind him and the lock slipping into place. As soon as Sierra was reasonably sure he was not coming back, her question burst forth. "What are they going to do?"
"I'm not sure,"
Braun replied.
"They did think she was close to death, and I begged them to take her to a healer, saying I would do anything."
Sierra gulped, but she knew Braun had done the right thing. The guards would have been suspicious if he hadn't reacted in response to his wife being nearly dead.
"We need to think of some fake information for you to reveal if they come back,"
Ashlyn said.
"since I doubt they will reveal what they're going to do to her."
Sierra swallowed. This was part of the plan she hadn't considered, the fact that they wouldn't really know what was going on beyond the confines of the cell until much later.
"I could tell them Aiden went to Fia's, but clearly they already know,"
Braun suggested. "I think it's better if you just tell them the truth," Sierra interjected. "Honestly, our original plan is shot anyway. Just say you came here and that the plan was for Aiden to meet you here in a few days."
That would alert them to put up the guards on watch. I agree with Sierra. At this point, they're likely on the lookout for him anyway, if he isn't here.
Ashlyn replied.
If we say he's coming here, they might even pull some guards off the search, which could make things easier for Kay to escape.
Sierra could tell that Braun didn't like the idea of betraying his friend, but she knew they didn't have any better ideas, and there was too much at stake.
Plus,
Ashlyn said,
if I know my brother, and I do, he will already know to be careful, so we won't be changing anything by revealing that he is headed this way. I also assume they're keeping Sierra as bait, so it won't really matter in the end. You're right.
Braun agreed. You should focus on the next part of our plan, Sierra suggested. I can't tell if it's night or day, but Braun, what do you have to do to influence dreams? She looked around the darkened room, but there was no window, nor even a crack in the stone revealing light. Ron sighed.
It would help if we knew if it was night or day, as I have to cast a mental net to see who is dreaming in the vicinity. I can start casting at random and see if I can get a general idea. More people will be dreaming when it is actually night. I assume Slania keeps a more regular schedule, though healers at work and private residences like this can be called for at any time.
That left Sierra's part of the plan. She looked at Ashlyn. Do you think there is a way I could cast my communication abilities? Ashlyn thought for a moment.
I don't know anyone else with this type of magic, but I'm sure you could. I just wish you had more experience with magic. This may be hard since you've only used it once before.
Twice, Sierra corrected.
Like it makes a difference.
Ashlyn snapped back.
But let's stay focused. Maybe take yourself back to see how you were feeling and what you were doing when the Elepags helped you in the forest.
Sierra closed her eyes, mentally turning back time to the moment she was sitting in the field. She hadn't been actively thinking of how she needed a ride. The Elepags had just known. They had also just known where she needed to go. But that entire day, she had been thinking about how she needed guidance or a plan. Maybe she had been projecting those emotions? Sierra decided it was worth a shot and tilted her head back, trying to clear it of all the noise. I need help. We need to get out of here. We don't know how to escape. She thought these few thoughts over and over, willing the feeling to flow through her body. She wished she was on the dirt floor rather than the stone, as she had a nagging sensation that her connection to nature via her transformation had played an essential role in her communication with the Elepags. Then again, maybe her need would transit through the stone to any animals touching the stone in the same way. Realizing that her thoughts of how were distracting her from her need, she quickly pushed them away, putting her trust in the creatures of this strange world to answer a call. Thoughts whirling, Sierra drifted off to sleep.